Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen J Lotus, King Sunkiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe for hey now, a reality reads. And today, honey, we are focused on your girl Wendy. Zen win if you're nasty. And many of you already know what time it is, child. It's been a good while since I done a reality reads for Real Housewives of Potomac. But honey, here we are, back in full effect. You may also notice and want to take a note to the playlist that I will have. I'm going to try to put it in the description box as well, because I know the comment section, certain things can get lost in the sauce. I can try to pin it, but either way, there'll be a link to the reality reads playlist for Real Housewives of Potomac specifically, because about 3 years ago, I had actually done a whole OG cast reading. So basically, I did readings on the whole OG cast. I did them 2x2 per video. Katie and Ashley has their own video. Giselle, who I habitually call Gizzard, just in case. So you might hear me mention her name throughout this reading, maybe if she comes up. But I may not say her name, Giselle. I'm gonna say Gizzard, more than likely. So just so you know, that's who that is. Gizzard is Giselle. But yes, I'm finna say Gizzard. Gizzard. Y'all bear with me, honey. Gizzard and Karen have their own video, and Sharice and Robin have their own video. But like I said, the link to that playlist will be in the comment section, and I'm also going to be including this video in that playlist as well. And at some point after this, I will eventually start to fill in the blanks with the other cast members as well, because like I said, thus far I've only done OG cast members, and those were whole total like thorough as breakdowns. Hell, I had even forgot how deep I went into those readings until I literally just so happened to think about it today and was like, oh shit, I need to go ahead and make a whole damn playlist and put it all together and all this other shit. So yeah, amongst, like I said, get to the other cast members like Candace, Monique, hell, the newer cast members, Mia, Stacy, Kiera, certain other ones that have been added on, as well as Wendy. In this reading, we are going to get a bit deep into Wendy's personality on a soul level and things of that nature. But I'm going to more so focus on that as a means to an end to unpack the legal situation that she's in right now and how that may be affecting her position in Bravo and life as a wife, mom, all of those things. But I will do also a deep dive on her, as I have already done for the OG cast members. I may even also very likely do an update reading on the ones I've already done as well. So yeah, especially with like everything that's going on. But yeah, just a couple of disclaimers and shit in this good old intro, honey. And without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into the specificities of this read. Pause real quick, because I do also have reality reads videos for Real Housewives of Atlanta as well, and I'm gonna put together a playlist for them, and I'm gonna be sure to put that in the description box as well in case any of you would be interested in that. So yeah, stay tuned on, updates on that playlist and such as well. Because I also already, what you will end up finding in that playlist is that I did deep dives on the whole Kenya and Britt situation, behind the scenes, things, and all of that. So yeah. Now, ain't gonna waste no more time. Gonna go ahead and get right into these cards. All right. And so how I'm doing this, I'm keeping some of the formulas that I usually do, but I'm recording it differently than how I usually do. I usually pull all the cards from my questions first, and then I'll journal, channel all of that, and then come back and I'll record the whole video and flow, and then certain other channelings might come up as I go and all of that shit. But this time I'm recording as I go question by question and shuffle by shuffle. So that said, we're starting out with her best of her and worst of her. So in case you're new here and you unfamiliar with how I do these types of readings, I always start off asking spirit to show me the best of them and to show me the worst of them. Okay. That said, I ain't gonna lie, I'm shook. I ain't gonna lie, I gotta tell y'all straight out the gate, I am shook. Cause also, total transparency. Before getting to this, for my own peace of mind, because I have liked Wendy. I have been a fan of hers and such, pretty much since she came on Potomac season 5. And so the news and everything, I don't really put nothing past nobody, but it was really fucking with me as I was trying to determine, do I pray for her or not? I know that may sound crazy, but no, you do not pray for everybody. And you're not always supposed to, even certain people who you have connection to, you're not supposed to pray for them through every situation. And/or you're not supposed to pray certain types of prayers through every situation, because some shit is karmic. Some shit is also spiritual punishment, right? So, for my own peace of mind, I went ahead and asked, is she guilty or not? I'm not going to reveal what the answer is just yet. I'm going to wait till we get to that point in the reading. And just so you know, I don't have those cards pulled out right now. I had just did that shuffle real quick for my own peace of mind. And hey, we'll see if anything different comes out by the time I ask again in this reading. But I'm saying all of that to say, I'm opening this reading, doing these intro messages. I'm looking to see the best in Wendy. I'm looking to see spirit validate some of these great things, at least some of them that, those of us that like and love Wendy have gotten to know and like and love. And honey, I asked to see the best of her first. And the card that came out and the position that it came out in flabbered my gassed. Gassed it, my flabbers, whichever one, baby. I am shocked and a nigga named Paul. So as you can see, in asking for the divine realm to show me the best of Wendy, she got the King of Wands in reversed. And I ain't gonna lie, honey, that alone has broken my heart and has me feeling like a goddamn fool. So let me go ahead and elaborate what the messages of this card is and what this means. So again, I asked for the divine realm to show us the best of Wendy in card form. I want to also specify that I'm using the Millennial Tarot deck. I felt pulled to use this deck also with emphasis and acknowledgement that Wendy is one of the older millennials. She's one of the older millennials. She's one of the first millennials. I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm saying that because Spirit is indicating. I'm not sure exactly what specifically they're indicating and emphasizing about that aspect, but there will be some things that are indicated and emphasized throughout the reading about her placement in the generation that she's in, which is millennial. And she was born in, I believe, 1984 or 85. One of them. It's either 84 or 85. But yeah, millennials start at 1981. So yeah, she's one of the first millennials. And so yeah, that also plays a role in why I use the millennial tarot deck. So yeah, that said, the best of Wendy is the King of Wands in reverse. And the label on this card and this deck is Big Dick Energy. So in reverse, that consequently is Small Dick Energy. And even literally in the book, the book that comes with these cards, it literally says try hard. Like when this card is in reverse and as it consequently, represents small dick energy, it's giving, spiritual Napoleon complex. This is also tapping into the root and solar, solar plexus elements, but root and sacral chakra heavily for her. And the root and sacral discrepancies feed heavily into her solar plexus discrepancies, which create this frequency of madness. And it's maniacal. I can sense it even channeling right now. It's trying to piss me off. So yeah, this is very try hard energy. Try hard, overcompensating, desperate, me, look at me as energy. It is also antagonistic, very antagonistic, doing anything for attention, but this is doing it on the slide. Big dick energy is bold. We are here and queer. Little dick energy throws rocks and hides their hand, does things on the slide, says little slick shit in passive aggressive and microaggressive manners. Y'all, so y'all know that I can pick up on people's past lives. My ability of that nature is so keen that I can literally see straight through you into your past lives. Okay. And it's interesting too, because what just channeled through is white woman and black skin. Now, please don't take offense to that, because that was literally just spirit channeling through in my clear audience. And what they're saying is Wendy was a white woman in a past life. And there's certain things, privileges and such, that her spirit remembers from those past lives. And she's been desperately trying to get back to it in this one. But this lifetime is not meant to be one of glory for Wendy, because what this is indicating about Wendy's spirit is that, and I don't know if you hear those sirens going haywire in the background as I'm channeling on this right now, that's not a coincidence, okay? So what spirit is saying is that Wendy, I just heard bad spirit. Like, I don't know how to do the accent that it's in, but it's in like this, it's in this kind of, it sounds Haitian. It doesn't sound African or like Jamaican, Caribbean or anything like that. It literally sounds Haitian. It sounds somewhat reminiscent to the witchy lady that Diane Carroll played in Eve's Bayou, that said pineapple thief. But it's in a deeper voice, and like I said, this is a Haitian, like an elder woman's Haitian accent, and they keep saying bad spirit. Like Wendy's a bad spirit. Her spirit is bad, and it's been bad for a long ass time. Like throughout several lifetimes, she's been an agent of chaos. They keep showing me like Zorro, like this like Zorro type vibe, even like a Peter Pan type of energy, and it's wisping, just wisping through different lifetimes, wisping through different social groups, just wisping and wisping and wisping, causing chaos, causing havoc, causing dissension and injustice. So y'all, I had to ask for some clarity because I'm like, did something happen? Or like as far as this lifetime, because all that past life stuff that just channeled through. That literally just channeled through as I was channeling and reading on it. But before all of that, I had to ask for some clarity on like how and why is this the best in her? The best in her is shit. The best in her is trash. The best in her is chaos. Like, damn. The best of her is terrible. Like, what the fuck? So I had to ask, like, why and how is she this way? So let me show you. So as you can see here, we have happy endings and trap. This is from the Love and Money Oracle deck. So on happy endings, it reads, feels skeptical of happy endings and distrusts fairy tale promises, believes reality is far from the fairy tale and feels disillusioned. Question the promises that seem too perfect. Trap. Drawn to deceptive allure and ignoring the hidden dangers. False promises of gain lure you into risky decisions. Masks risk presents itself as a safe bet. Now, a part of this that I was getting is her being born into a family that has this type of pathology going on heavy, where they function in a rhetoric that is very much so, life is shitty, life is hell, so get out here and get this money, get these stripes, stop all that crime shit, fuck all that other shit, all that happy ending shit, yeah, whatever, get that bag. Yeah. And I know that type of rhetoric is common for a lot of people to a degree, but it's given that this is deep. Like, this is like to a deep as extreme, and it's reminiscent of experiences that her spirit has already had. The thing is, her spirit in this lifetime is given that she's supposed to be being more creative. She's supposed to be being more creative in this lifetime and being more communal in this lifetime. So, there's another aspect of this that I was channeling and picking up on, whereas, because I had to exercise my clairaudience in the way of journaling on what came out, and spirit kept saying she ain't shit. She don't believe shit. She don't believe fat meat greasy. She don't believe water wet. She just don't believe shit. You just can't tell her nothing. Yeah. And spirit is saying that for many lifetimes, she's been on the frequency of a fool. And so spirit has been very graceful and merciful with her, handling her in the way of, that of a fool. But it's getting to the point of now that it has become straight up demonic on some shit. I'm not saying that. That's what it's channeling through. Y'all can even see it right here in the cards. If you know anything about, how the cards work, and you can look up what the cards mean and, form your own interpretation based on what is written. But yeah, so that's what channeled through. Hey, allegedly, all the while, that's what channeled through. That's what the cards are giving. Like, I ain't do it. That's just how it came out. All right. So now I want to go ahead and move on to the other card that is over here, which is me asking for the divine realm to show me the worst of Wendy, which, hey, it's like, how can we get any worse than that, right? But She got the 9 of Fields, the 9 of Cups in reverse. That being said, with that happy endings card having come out in the elaboration form of the best of her, and then she has the 9 of Cups in reverse, especially given the imagery and such in this particular deck, it lets me know something is not right with her and Eddie. I'm pretty sure, that's already obvious at this point, but because the way this is coming out, it don't seem like Wendy is truly capable of love. I'm going to add another question to my list, and we'll hold that thought until we get there. When we get to what that question is, I'm going to acknowledge this particular part right here where I'm impromptu adding that question. But yeah, so on second thought, Spirit said go ahead and ask it now. Okay, Spirit said go ahead and ask it now as an elaboration card for this. Because I ain't gonna lie, as I'm channeling on this and I'm reading on this, I just got a real dark ass bad feeling and vibe in my stomach. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Before I do, I want to turn to the page in the guidebook and see what the reverse meaning of this card reads off to be. I just want to look at it for myself to see if I see the exacts of like certain words that I hear that I haven't let y'all in on yet. Just one second. I'm going to read what's in the book out loud though. So the reverse meaning, as far as the book is concerned, at times you discover that the idealized, perfectly painted image you have of your future isn't what you truly desire after all. That's okay. Additionally, focusing intensely on achieving an aspiration doesn't mean you're prepared or practiced at knowing how to enjoy it once you reach it. It may even feel unnatural. You're allowed to keep searching, but remember that wherever you travel, your mindset goes with you. And shifting your gaze won't inherently resolve your problems. Oh my. Now, I did not see any matchings of the keywords that were channeling through to me. What I did pick up on is, and you may be able to notice if you've watched Real Housewives of Potomac, specifically keeping a good eye on Wendy one way or another, you would notice that she does seem to jump from one venture to the next. She seems to be, a bit all over the place, constantly seeking something and then having like buyer's remorse once she gets it. There's a different, so what I picked up on though, while it's not the exact keywords that were channeling through me, that particular aspect that talked about realizing that this thing that she has achieved and not knowing how to enjoy it once she reaches it, it feels unnatural. There's an aspect of that matches what's channeling through to me. So real quick, I'm finna pull some elaboration cards on this real quick and ask the specific question that had channeled through for me to ask. One sec. Child, I can't make this shit up. So what I was picking up on, and I want to get confirmation from Spirit on it, was some pathies, okay? I was hearing psychopathy, sociopathy, apathy, those types of things, along with some other words. But to get straight to the nitty gritty, I asked now I don't have the cards here for when I asked that, but I asked, was she a psychopath? And so the cards were coming out kind of all over the place. Some of them were, yes, and some of them were no. It was giving yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, all over the place. So that led me to basically like confirmation to ask about the others that were coming up. So then I asked, is she sociopathic? And the cards that came out are the Queen of Cups, aka the Queen of Fields, Mother's Intuition, the Seven of Swag, aka Seven of Coins, aka Hustle Culture, and the Six of Swag, aka Six of Coins, free giveaway, aka Wendy is also an aka, okay? No pun intended, but hey, so happens. But all of these are yes cards. They are yes as fuck cards. They are also very indicative of what brought us here today. So as we tap into the Mother's Intuition card, the Queen of Cups card, that is, like I said, one of the yes cards saying that she is sociopathic, allegedly, based on how this is channeling and the cards that came out. They are answering yes, that she is sociopathic. The elaboration of this card is her mother has always noticed it. It's given that her mother has always noticed that Wendy has some sort of corruption in her spirit. The thing is, in her mother trying to protect Wendy from herself so drastically, she's also gone about using this to her own convenience, picking and choosing when she capitalizes off of this sociopathy of Wendy, to like I said, benefit from it in her own ways. Hearing, monetarily, social currency, things of that nature, as well as, imagery, ways to make herself look better. Always pointing the finger at Wendy, pointing out her imperfections in order to make herself look better. Okay, we then have the Seven of Swag here, which, like it says, hustle culture, hustle culture. And that goes back to a lot of the messages surrounding the King of Wands in reverse card. That card came out when I was asking for Spirit to show us the best of Wendy. And that King of Wands in reverse energy was giving, don't believe in shit. She don't believe in shit. She don't value shit. All she know is get the bag. Get the bag. Get the flies clothes, designer this, designer that, everything superficial and vain. Okay. Then we have Six of Swag. Like I said, free giveaway. Always looking for some free shit. Always thinking that her smile and her beauty and her personality and her charm is gonna get her through and out of everything. So yeah, we then have this Queen of Wands card here, which is present now. Hey, we got the King of Wands present, and the Queen of Wands present. That's some strong synchronicity there, right? But neither one is out for good things. So the other part that I had to ask about was, does Wendy have narcissistic tendencies, and or is she also consumed with narcissism? And the card that came out is that Queen of Vibes, Queen of Wands, aka baddie. And I feel like if you've been observing, what's understood don't have to be explained. I cannot make this shit up. Now, these two cards here, I had to ask. Y'all already heard me say, I liked Wendy. I did not want this to be like this. I am shocked at a nigga named Paul, but I have to be obedient to my spiritual purpose, honey. And so the other thing that was channeling through that I had to ask, especially based on the fact that, child, I don't think I have ever asked, like, mind you, I have already done readings, deep dive readings on Gizzard and Robin. Okay? And I don't like them. And even in asking for the best of them, they had good cards. Like from what I remember, even the worst of them that was shown wasn't the energy that I was picking up in this one and straight up seeing. I cannot remember a time where I asked for the best of someone and it was given straight up demon. I'm just gonna say it. It was just given straight up demon. I have not ever, I'm talking about, I have gotten, some cards that I pulled asking for the best of them and it was imperfect, and it was, a good natured card that came out in reverse. And, that was something to unpack. But I have not ever pulled on someone asking for the best of them and what comes out is straight up demonic. Let alone I ask for the worst of them and it's also something, mind you, again, what came out for the worst of her was the 9 of fields in reverse. And in this particular deck, the label on that card is #blessed. And it came out reversed for her. So I had to stop ignoring it amongst with that Haitian voice that kept saying what they were saying. I had to stop ignoring it and go ahead and be obedient and straight up ask, is Wendy consumed by a demonic spirit? And the cards that came out, they came out together. They came out together straight up. Mind you, they came out like where it looked like it was one card and they were flipped over to where, I couldn't see the other side. So I turned it over and like fanned them out. And we have the Ace of Swag and the Ten of Swag. Both of these, bruh, they saying from 1 to 10, your girl Win is a demon. Y'all, I am heartbroken. I am shocked in a nigga named Paul. And I just gotta say to everybody who saw her from jump, y'all was right. And we was wrong, honey. We was wrong. And as I wrap up on this segment, I have to add another impromptu question. I wasn't even going to entertain this, but the way that this is the question that I'm about to add to the list, and y'all probably can already discern what it is. But I wasn't even going to entertain that. But the way that this has turned out, I gotta go ahead and ask about the Osu stuff. I gotta go ahead and ask, especially being the fact that all of that past life stuff that came out, and in asking, is she consumed by a demonic spirit? And she got, like, before it gets to the royal cards, she got the 2 strongest cards in the coin suit, 1 and 10. And they're both 1 cards. Like they both, start with 1, represents new beginning, independence, all of that shit. Like that is not a coincidence. Like that's just way too synchronized. And then amongst generational wealth is the label on the 10 of Swag card. So yeah, I gotta go ahead and ask for the next question. Are the Osu speculations true? All right, so before I get into this, I am going to give a light disclaimer. All right, once again, I am channeling based off my interpretation and perspective of my competency, of my spiritual gifts, education, and the way that these cards and everything is coming out. All right, I am not here to ostracize anyone or facilitate any forms of bigotry or Nathaniel. Right? Okay. I totally understand that most spiritualities, religions, things of that nature have double-edged swords to them. It's good and bad people that exist within, every form of spirituality, religion, all that shit. That's literally how my daddy raised me, okay? I was raised by a Muslim man and a Christian woman. I totally understand, okay, the parallels and differences and perpendiculars and all of that, and how spiritualities and things can work, and how the people can work within them and without them, all right? So I just want to be clear on the subjects that we're on and our purposes for being on them. This is very much so giving cautionary tale type shit. And so I'm allowing the divine realm to use me to make it all make sense, at least to some degree. And hopefully, this can help prevent people from self-destructing. Okay? Now, as we get into this, like I said, the question that I spontaneously added as it channeled through was, the speculations about her being Osu, and or, a descendant of the Osu tribe. I don't think everyone, who has an understanding of Osu would refer to it as a tribe, or just, refer to it as a system, or, whatever, what have you. But to kind of give a nutshell interpretation of my understanding of what it is a specific sector of Nigerians, as you could say, it's a tribe of Nigerians who decided to commit themselves excessively to two goddesses specifically, and make themselves, basically like quote unquote slaves to those specific goddesses, which is an earth goddess, goddess of earth. You can think of her as a Mother Earth figure, as a figure of Gaia, maybe even like a parallel to Persephone, which is the Greek goddess. So that would tap into, money, things that are physicality, materialization, can also be Empress energy, fruit, like literal physical fruit and things of that nature. But that's where the other goddess comes in when we're talking about like the materialization of fruits, harvest, specifically the earth in its most feminine. That would be the other goddess that is a part of that duo, which they serve excessively. I am not sure how to say her name. The earth goddess, I believe her name is Allah, which I find to be interesting. I believe that's how you say it. It would be either Allah or Allah, or whichever the inflection is. I still find that interesting either way. But yeah, and then the other goddess is the goddess of yams, which has to do with harvest and yams. It's very important to Nigerian culture. It's a form of food, resource, things of that nature, all of that. These goddesses are not innately evil. It's not innately evil to serve them. However, the issue comes in where they make themselves slaves to those goddesses in the way that it comes off disregarding to the other deities, and therefore with the understanding of being made as an extension in the imagery of the deities, it also inevitably you end up disregarding other important aspects of yourself and other important aspects of life. So also, in a nutshell, in simple terms, this functionality facilitates hustle culture, in which, if you remember, and you can rewind a few steps back, you'll see that I believe it was a 7 of swag, 7 of coins that came out that was answering yes about her being sociopathic and things of that nature. And it's a part of what led us here. Come straight up there. That's a part of why they see it as, in simple terms, demonic. and or shameful, because they see this tribe as capitalists, as Euro chasers, as whitewashed. So it's like, it's interesting because in my research on the subject, it is a lot of wording that sets this particular tribe up to be perceived as if they are the equivalent to what hippies are in America. If we understand hippies to be those that rebel things of the nature such as capitalism, that rebel the system, rebel the isms of it all, that set up all this senseless oppression and ostracization and things of that nature, right? And that's what I'm saying. The Osu tribe, in certain ways, in certain texts that I read about them on, they were made to, they were made to seem like a hippie equivalent. But by description and actually looking at the material, no pun intended, they are not the same. They are polar opposites in a similar aesthetic. So, in the imagery of collective Nigerian tribes, Osu presents themselves like the Americanized hippie, okay? The American hippie and or the American baddie, right? Specifically speaking, like Wendy is a news correspondent. Wendy is a professor. And typically, for a long times ago in America, it was unbecoming to see, and it's still a lot of debate about that now, but it's more liberation where professors can wear bodycon dresses to work. Professors can be on reality TV. Professors can, dip it and do it, be out at the club. They can post a little more. They can, have more of a baddie aesthetic, or even Eurocentric or esoteric even, or even bohemian type of aesthetic, and not be turned away, not be rejected for the job. They can have tattoos and piercings and things of that nature over here now and not be turned down for the job. And this is a part of what has had a lot of us Black Americans hoodwinked and bamboozled. A lot of us free-spirited Americans in general hoodwinked and bamboozled because of the way that she has been packaged and the way that she carries herself, and she knows it. Okay, she knows it. The other aspect of that is, whereas in Nigeria, they see this type of aesthetic and they are automatically taught to see it as demonic. And while we know that their aesthetic doesn't automatically mean demonic or a bad person or anything of that nature, they recognize that aesthetic and way of being as a sign of being Osu, or a sign of being a descendant of Osu, because you worship expansion, you worship money, you worship material, you worship earthly things. Again, nothing wrong with loving wealth, nothing wrong with caring for and loving your home and material things, because if you love it, you're going to care for it. You're going to care for the quality of it. But when you're worshiping it, when you're a slave to it, you end up in situations where Wendy has found herself. And I'm seeing 4404 to be exact, as well as 300, as channeling this and speaking on this as well. And it kind of makes me mad, because as y'all just heard me say, where Spirit has confirmed that Wendy knows the way that she has been pulling the wool over a lot of Black Americans' eyes. And it takes me back to, I think it may have been when they were playing pickleball. some scene where I think Karen had arranged for them to play pickleball. It's the season that Aneka was on there, and she had brought up the Osu accusations again. And there was, I can't remember if it may have been Wendy, or it may have been that I saw her retweeting certain things that were like Black Americans perceiving what was being said as if this tribe was just like the way a lot of Black Americans, like myself, tend to be ostracized or demonized uh for serving and educating themselves on, the spectrum of African deities and different spiritualities and things of that nature. There was an attempt to make it seem like that's what that was, when in actuality, no, y'all are not ostracized because you are polytheistic. Y'all are not ostracized because you practice hoodoo. You're not ostracized simply because you practice a different spirituality than everybody else. It seems more so there have been boundaries set because there's been an understanding that there is a certain sector of people that worship material, and that more often than not end up being soldiers that fall on their own sword. And it seems as though, and the spirit is spirit, child. So that's interesting because spirit is saying they are putting this out here. The divine realm is allowing this to make the definitiveness, to make the declaration of the reason why there is a Nigerian scammer stereotype. And spirit is trying to clear up the differences between the hippies and whatever this is Wendy got going on. And I say that like that specifically because just as like a lot of Black Americans have been indoctrinated into whitewashed Christianity and things of that nature, that doesn't make them innately bad people. They were born into things and they're having to use what they got to get what they want type shit. And, as they go through their individual journeys, hopefully it all divinely aligns the way it is divinely designed to. Okay, so I personally am not here to like automatically demonize anyone who identifies as Osu or is a descendant of such, because I don't know your individual life. But I'm just channeling and delivering the messages of what is coming through for the individual that Wendy is. And she is here as a representation of certain other people that there may be like her. Because the thing is, and this goes back to what Spirit was saying at the very beginning of this reading, when they said that she was a white woman in black skin, because I'm also hearing she's a Republican in Democratic suits. And these types of people exist in a plethora of different groups. Even in the spiritual worker world, be it online, offline, whatever, what have you, there are a lot of child. We could call them a lot of things, but child, if you know anything about P Valley, there are a lot of Patrice Woodbines in hood healer aesthetic. Okay. There are a lot of Stacey Dashes in trap witch aesthetic. If you know, you know. Now, all that said, I want to get into the specificities of these cards. All right. You can probably already guess, like I said, for the first two cards in this layout at the very top, I asked, is Wendy a descendant of the Osu tribe? And we have the Sun card and the Six of Cups. The labeling on the Sun card is insta famous. Think about what I just described. Think about what I just explained. And the label on the Six of Cups card is throwback. So this is most certainly generational. Generational. Which gives that she and her family may not mindfully like serve those two deities, but their families have been functioning in the culture of such for so long that it's embedded in them. Amongst, I'm also hearing the form of Christianity that they practice is in alignment with the form of Osu that their lineage has practiced. So there's that. The Sun card is also to be acknowledged very highly, as it has no like if, ands, or buts about it. It is a yes card. Whether it comes out reverse, sideways, tilted, whatever, it is a yes card. Only if I get a straight up, raw, gut, intuitive channeling that spirit is trying to say something else about it, the Sun card is always yes. The Sun card is always about hidden truths being brought to light. Straight the fuck up. Okay? So, what's understood don't have to be explained at that. So, for the next cards, we're going to tackle the Love and Money Oracle card over to the left of them first. Okay? Which is the Savings card. And it is representing, it came out when I asked, how is this affecting Wendy in this lifetime? How has this been affecting her throughout her life? And we have the Savings card. So again, that is referencing back to the hustle culture energy. She has done a lot of things to always make sure that there is some sort of financial safety net somewhere, even if it's someone else's money. And so I feel like that's referencing the legal situation that she's caught up in right now as well. I'm channeling and seeing some things that this is not Wendy's first day at the picnic. I may ask some confirmation questions about that, but I am getting some channelings and some visions that are showing and saying to me that Wendy had some run-ins with the law in her teenage years that involved thievery. I'm hearing petty theft and fraudulence. We'll see about it. But that just goes into, I just heard, ghetto fabulous, it's better ghetto fabulous. Oh yeah, it's better ghetto fabulous. Yes, ghetto fabulous in the tune of unfabulous. Oh yeah, it's better unfab. God is so funny. But I could be channeling inside of her mind because she might have taken a liking to that show at some point and she remixed it that way herself. I don't know, but that's what the fuck was channeling through. I'm gonna be the one unforgettable. It's better ghetto fabulous. I'm gonna be the one unstoppable. It's better ghetto fabulous. And with that said, Spirit is saying to take a look back at the Sun card. Notice the person in that card has on shades. So Spirit is saying, pay attention to Wendy's eyes. Look at her eyes in general. Pay attention to her eyes, and even more so, look at her eyes in pictures, both old and new. Pay very close attention to her eyes. And they're saying hollow. Hollow. Interesting. Honey. But furthermore, with this savings card, I'm seeing and hearing some things about identity theft. And there's about to be so much that is about to come out about Wendy. And I'm hearing that some of these safety nets that she has set up that are people, like I said, using other people's money and things of that nature, they're about to start rebelling and putting her business in the street. And a lot of people at first are going to think that they're just dogpiling on Wendy, but I'm hearing slowly but surely, but also sooner than later, it's going to be very apparent who the real villain is. Ooh, child. So, for the other card over to the right of them, we have Digital Whisper. I'm going to actually read this one off. So, I asked even more specifically, how is her Osu dissension and things of that nature, her Osu influence affecting her now at this point in her life? And we have Digital Whisper. And it reads off, connections feel real, but lack depth and craving physical touch while trapped in screens. Embracing each other digitally, but the longing for touch remains. It's an erratic, tumultuous connection that is damaging and poisonous. So, that is referencing Wendy's relationship with herself. That's also referencing back to those messages about her eyes and her being hollow. She doesn't have a connection to herself. And this is also referencing her marriage. It's also bringing up the imagery of the emails that they talked about, concerning this legal situation where her and her husband are talking about the crime in some emails. And I remember a lot of people were asking, why the fuck are they emailing? And that's what this card is bringing up here, that her and Eddie's connection is hollow. It's non-existent. It's a mirage. They just perform. They just know the blocking of, and if you don't know what blocking is in an actor's standpoint, the director tells the actors their placement in the scene. They don't tell you how to get there, or what your character's motivation is for being there, but they'll just say, on this line you need to be standing by the refrigerator, on this line you should be sitting on the couch, by such and such's line you should be walking out the door. Okay, so that's what I mean by blocking. That's what I mean by they know the blocking of what a strong, powerful, loving connection looks like. And this is sociopathy, y'all. It's giving that Wendy specifically has studied how to be likable to both Black Americans and white Americans for the sake of social currency. The blocking, the choreography of how to win the approval of both white Americans and Black Americans. And all of this has also, she's poured it into the aesthetics of her marriage. And it has created this cognitive dissonance of madness inside her, to where she has been pissed off that all of this imagery, this beautiful mirage that she's created, She can't figure out how to make it real. She can't figure out how to feel the reality of it. All of these mirages that she's created in her life and her inability to connect with the real feeling of it has been driving her nuts. But sweetie, you can't connect with the reality of the feeling of it because you keep trying to connect. And that goes back to the other card from the previous layout. It was the Nine of Cups in reverse, and where it talked about her inability to appreciate what she has or connect with what she has. And it's because it's not real to you. It doesn't resonate with you. You are trying to feel feelings and sensations of goodness, and you're a bad person. All this shit, you're trying to feel truth when all this shit was built on a lie. Tisk, honey, tisk. And so the bottom row of cards is clarification and integration of further elaboration on how is her Osu influence impacting her now, like in this lifetime, in her situation, throughout her life in this lifetime, all of that. And we have the Ten of Wands sideways. The head is to the right, and this is due to blinding optimism. Wendy truly thinks, and this is referencing back to the savings card, Wendy truly thinks that she set herself up to be Deus Machina out of this situation. She really thinks that she is going to ace this test and make it out scot-free. But in actuality, any generational wealth that she's had and or created, this is indicating, and Spirit is saying, she squandered it. Another aspect of that is, and this is why I said, and this is why I feel like I believe that the goddesses that the Oso tribe serve are not innately evil, because the goddess Allah, or Allah, whichever the inflection is that is appropriate, talked about her being heavily responsible for protecting land and homes and family structures. Okay. And as well as the other goddess is responsible for, all of the other fruits of those things. So can be literal fruit harvest, and or can be, while as Allah responsible for the home, the other goddess ends up being responsible for all of the amenities, the water supply, the bathtubs, the sinks, the dishes, the food that goes into the house, the TVs, different forms of entertainment and whatnot that are around the house, the things that you need and the things that you desire, that all facilitate and are a part of the home, as well as the children can also be seen as a part of the fruits. And when you commit certain acts that are associated with fraudulence, and I know a lot of people tend to take scamming and things of that nature very lightly, especially when it's like the scamming of a corporation of such. A lot of people think that that is not violent, and Spirit emphasized to me before I even did any pulls on this situation, I was guided to do research on scamming and fraud and, all that type shit. And low-key, high-key, this whole year, I'm recognizing I've been being prepared all year to do this reading. Honey, but that's a story for another time. And so that said, they wanted me to emphasize the violence of thievery, scamming, fraud. Because those types of things, one way or another, like, understand that, and here's that terminology coming up again, mirage. The corporation is a mirage that has real people working for it, real clients that are real people who are really affected when people scam and fraud the system. And yes, insurance The system of the insurance companies and all of that, they are scams and frauds in themselves. Understand though, when you feed into that frequency of fraudulence, all you do is feed the frequency of fraudulence. So not only do you continuously feed into the frequencies of oppression towards yourself, but also other people, including and especially the real people that work for those corporations and the real people that are clients to those corporations. All that said, that is also what is being emphasized by this Ten of Coins card. And it's labeled generational wealth, as well as through the deities, the two goddesses. She has disrupted not only her own generational wealth, but other people's generational wealth. And this is not just through the legalities that she's facing right now. This is a buildup of situations. And Spirit is also wanting to emphasize and wanting me to emphasize to understand that by the time that people get to this level of being caught up in some shit like this is not the first time they've done it. This is the first time they've gotten caught and called out on this level. Again, recognizing the violence in theft, in scamming, and fraudulence. And I want to be clear too. When I say this, I'm making a parallel. I'm not saying that Wendy is a sexual predator. I'm not saying that at all. But think about the phrase stealing pussy. What's the word for people who, quote unquote, steal pussy? And they take a whole lot more when they do that type shit, right? And then there's another phrase, right? Trigger warning, raping pockets. Doing what now? Raping pockets, raping bank accounts. Just connect the dots for yourself. What's understood don't have to be explained. So again, Spirit is emphasizing the violence of thievery and emphasizing to stop thinking that certain shit is so different. And they're bringing up the parallels of Real Housewives with baddies and Love and Hip Hop. What are the real differences? I ain't gonna lie, that's a question I've been asking for the longest. And they done brought it up through here, child. Tisk. So yeah, it is being spoken that those deities are on her ass. Those deities are on her ass, and they are acting out karmic justice, spiritual punishment as well, for the fact that she has disrupted the flow of wealth. She has disrupted, corrupted, and totally disrespected the flow of wealth. And in certain cases, I'm picking up on, has done it in the name of Jesus. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Well, we're going to go ahead and move on to these next cards, honey. So we have the 8 of Coins. And in this deck, it is imposter syndrome. So this is another way that her Osu influence is affecting her and has been affecting her throughout her life. Imposter syndrome. So this also goes back to some of those messages that we're talking about her having severe identity issues and amongst feeling and being a hollow shell of a person. That is very unfortunate. We then have the Knight of Swag, the Knight of Coins, and the label on that is Celebrity Stylist. And when this came up, it gave me the imagery and the messages that this card is referencing her relationship with Eddie. Eddie is more of a celebrity stylist to her. That's what this card and Spirit is communicating, that one way or another that influence, that the Osu influence Yeah, because her relationship is built on superficiality amongst the narcissistic elements. Is built on her being a dictator and Eddie being the servant. That is very sad. And so, yeah, that's oh gosh. Yeah, that's what that's given. Eddie is more of a celebrity stylist to her. He's an object to her. And it's given that Wendy doesn't see people as people for real. She sees people as objects and as means to an end. Honey. And so this has been the layout covering the Osu answers and influences, child. Um, wow.